dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So today we got a level 10,000 Mirage Prime and Stug combo, and yes, I am actually using the Stug at level 10,000. This might not be the exact same build you're thinking it might be, but yeah, the Stug's actually doing some work here, and is being used at high levels. So let's get right into the builds and all that kind of stuff, and what's the situation here. Before we do though, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, farming guides, news videos, all that kind of stuff. You're in the right place for Warframe content. Thanks for all the support on the recent videos. Alright, so this is all recorded live on the live stream channel. And yeah, I've been making a bunch of new builds recently. We've got builds for like 9 frames on the way. We've also got a big dev stream next week too, so I gotta make sure I get these out quickly. So for this one, this build is meant for Void Cascade, and it's also meant that you're using Mirage Prime, obviously. That's the frame I'm using in the video today. The DPS weapon we're using is going to be the Tenet Glaxion. We'll be using the Stug as a bit of a debuff weapon, but not exactly. So let's go over what we have and all the mod configs to melt these high-level enemies and be very, very tanky and hard to kill along the way. Okay, so we are on Void Cascade. So every enemy... here's a thing, a preamble for this. For Void Cascade Fissures, which is this build is meant for, the Grineer and the Corrupted are the only enemies that will be spawning here. Technically Thrax too. But there will never be a Corpus mission for Void Cascade Fissures. I don't know why it isn't like that, but yeah, it is only Grineer and Corrupted, so keep that in mind. We have no need for anti-shield stuff, no need for toxin procs. We only care about armor and overguard here. Alright, so let's go and take a look at all these builds now. We are the Simulacrum, and as far as what the idea of this build is, it's to be for just basically instantly melting enemies. Be aware, I had one different Arcane equipped in the gameplay footage, but I'm going to tell you what terrible Arcane that was and why I unequipped it here in a second. So, idea of this build, now hopefully Verglas won't kill everybody, but he does tend to do that. Keep in mind too, we have the Total Eclipse Augment. Verglas gets buffed by Nourish and buffed by Total Eclipse to get crazy, crazy damage. So look out for this guy, maybe out-killing you sometimes. But yeah, we've got the Tenet Glaxion to just shred enemies really fast. We've got the new Photon Overcharge Augment mod to give us extra energy orbs. And why do we have the Stug equipped with all guns? Well, it's going to be mainly because it's kind of funny. But the other reason is going to be the new Arcane Secondary Fortifier. So what we're going to do to have our survivability, this build does fully shield gate at high levels. But additionally, we could use the Stug, or any pistol for that matter, with the Secondary Fortifier Arcane. If we shoot enemies, we get Overguard, and that Overguard gives us invincibility time, which allows us to be invincible for even longer. So, showing how that is in practice, we can get surrounded by enemies here, and we should be able to survive through it. So I'm going to unpause these level 100 and 220 Steel Path Eximus. And I didn't even resummon them, whoops. But yeah, we can actually just face tank through the pain if we have enough energy, and this build you do. Alright, so get your Stug out. Get that Overguard from some Stug shots. Get some Shield Gate from your... Oh, they're all dead, okay. Get some Shield Gate from your abilities, and everyone is dead. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about all these stuff in the build setup. Now, keep in mind, on my normal Mirage setup, I have different Archon shards. I changed out one Archon shard that's usually a second parkour velocity shard for one corrosive stack increase shard because 13 procs is much better than 10 procs, especially when we're talking level 10,000. I'll be at Mirage Prime on here as far as the shards I'm using. Got 3 Power Strength Tau Crimson shards just to get more damage from Eclipse and get more damage from Nourish. Technically more damage from the Illusions as well for Hall of Mirrors. We do not use the 4th ability on this build. Parkour velocity to move through the mission faster. Mirage is pretty quick with her custom roll speed, so this helps quite a bit. And yeah, as I said, one corrosive stack to give more procs on the enemies to make it where they have less armor, which is pretty helpful. We got the Tenet Glaxion with a magnetic roll, 60%. We got there is no Kuva Stug, so we got the Stug, just normal. And look at these amazing stats on this thing. 5% crit chance, 0% status. Base corrosive, so if they had some status chance, that'd be nice, but it doesn't have any status chance. So you're looking at a terrible, terrible weapon right here. And then for the Praetos, it was not used, it is used as a mobility stat stick because we got the increased sprint speed and parkour on here. But I'll still show the build that was not used pretty much at all in the footage. And for our companion, we do have the Nautilus and Verglas Prime, some of the newest items in the game, and some of the strongest items in the game. As far as what the build is, it's going to be different from my normal Mirage build because this one is meant for high levels. we need to worry about survivability to an extent. We need to also make sure our damage is high enough to be shredding these guys in like a second. And spoiler, it does give us enough damage to shred them in a second. But as far as survivability front, we need to be shield gating or overguard gating to survive here. So you've got Brief Respite and Prime Sure-Footed, some of the best high-level meta stuff. Brief Respite on ability cast will give you some shields, which is good for shield gating. And Prime Sure-Footed to not get knocked over and get like killed by a Thrax and you're knocked over. Catalyzing Shields reduces our overall shields, so we can get our full shields easily by casting one ability. So we'll have full shield gate of 1.33 seconds. If you don't have this mod on here, you're going to have 410 shields, and you're not going to get full shield gate. So just keep that in mind, that Mirage's normal shield gate is 1.4 seconds, and with Catalyzing Shields it becomes 1.33, but it's much easier to achieve that maximum shield gate with Mirage. Prime Flow is on here. Probably wasn't needed necessarily, but I did want to put it on here. If you didn't run Prime Flow, there's other mods you could run for sure, like Vigorous Swap or something like that. Rolling Guard is going to be great for getting status procs off of you. Also, give you some invincibility time to get your shields back or your overguard back. Great one there. Now, this mod right here, Prime Continuity, you could change this off for Narrow-Minded, and it would be a lot more duration, but a lot less range. But the reason I'm not doing that is because if I was to put on Narrow-Minded here, instead, it would ruin some of my other builds that don't want negative range. So, for the purposes of the other builds, I've kept on Prime Continuity, but keep in mind that Narrow-Minded is about 40% more duration, and you don't need that much extra range for Total Eclipse or for Nourish, especially if you only care about yourself buffing. Blind Rage and Transient Fortitude, some of the strongest power strength mods in the game, and Umbral Intensify. It's better than Precision Intensify for this. Even if you had Nourish on your 4th ability, you do want to have a power strength buff to Eclipse, so Umbral Intensify is going to be the better choice here. And the final mod, Total Eclipse, giving this Eclipse buff to nearby teammates. This also works on your illusions too, so this makes you do a lot more damage. Total Eclipse Augment mod, Eclipse Hall of Mirrors ability buffs those illusions. You'll also buff our Verglas Nautilus minion thing, and that thing does crazy damage once it's all stacked up. Our arcanes of choice are Molt Augmented, and this is the one I changed from the footage. So in the footage, I had Arcane Ice Storm equipped, one of the newer arcanes. On enemy frozen, gain 2% ability strength and 2% ability duration for 15 seconds, stacks with 20 times. Dude, even a level 10,000 enemy doesn't survive long enough to get frozen solid. So this arcane's really bad. It's maybe meant for like low-level frost missions, like a survival or something. Yeah, for high-level missions, this is really bad, unless you're running like a bad build, I guess. But yeah, I did not see more than like 10 stacks at a time with this thing because the enemies died too quickly. So I would not recommend this arcane, even if you are running a cold proc build. It is just too slow. You have to be fully cold procced and frozen to even get one stack of it. So you're usually running around like 2% power strength with that one. So Molt Efficiency is much more easy to proc. While your shields are active, gain increased ability duration. So you have shields really easily with Brief Respite. So, and then also if you have Overguard on top of that, you're not going to break your shields really. So easy extra duration right there. But you could change this off for something else you wanted to. I just like to have it for extra duration. But yeah, in the run, it basically had like no arcane in the second slot. Basically only had Molt Augmented. So you could put whatever you feel like in this slot. But I like Molt Efficiency. As far as our Magnetic Tenet Glaxion here, we've got a Corrosive and Cold build, and this is why I've actually was using Arcane Ice Storm. This thing can proc Corrosive and Cold, and then we got Magnetic Roll, so we could be doing... so if you haven't played in a while, Magnetic actually is a bonus damage to Overguard now, and it will debuff Overguard to take increased damage. So that's really good for us, because we are... Like, honestly, in Void Cascade, there is a lot of enemies with Overguard. That's partially why this build exists, guys, is because it feels like almost every enemy in Overguard. Almost every enemy in Void Cascade has Overguard. Like, the Thrax constantly have Overguard. The Trocarians have Overguard. The Eximus have Overguard. There are so many enemies with Overguard in here that having Magnetic procs is going to make it where you can more reliably be shredding this stuff really quickly. Now, the Overguard itself, with this build, is not an issue. But, again, we have Magnetic procs. So that's helping us quite a bit against these Overguarded enemies that are pretty tanky for most players. But yeah, Magnetic is going to be a big boon for you on these high-level missions, especially in Cascade. But as far as the rest of the build, it is a Corrosive Cold build, which lets us do many things. Cold procs let us get increased critical damage. Corrosive procs remove enemy armor. It's just a good damage type in general. As we are fighting Kuva Grenier here, and they are weak to this. And Cold just good against everything, basically. Yeah, that's what we got. And if you don't have this Riven, don't worry about it. You got the 60/60 mod called, I think it's High Voltage. It's pretty much the exact same thing. You have even more status chance than me, too. My Riven is just an electric replacement mod for High Voltage. Pretty much the exact same build. It will do the same exact situation. Primary Frostbite, we have so many cold procs, we get increased multi-shot and damage. We don't really need that much extra damage because we have Mirage's Eclipse. And we've also got things like Galvanized Aptitude, because there's so many procs of them, they're going to be getting melted real fast. If you don't have Photon Overcharge, don't worry about it. It's honestly like less damage if you have this, but you can run Vital Sense instead to increase critical damage. The thing about Photon Overcharge is it drops more energy orbs, so that can be helpful with Nourish to give you like extra energy sustain. But yeah, this gun's great. I could have used like the Tord or something else, but yeah, I do really like the Tenet Glaxion quite a bit. The star of the show here is definitely the Stug, and it's amazing 0% status chance. But yeah, the entire reason I use this thing is because we were just goofing around, to be honest. The build here is to be magnetic. It will do more damage against Overguard, and that's what you're damaging with this weapon, with Secondary Fortifier. You can get about, like, I think, like 1,800 Overguard from, like, a bullet or two with this, and that's enough to give you that Overguard gate. So very good stuff there. Now, the issue with the Stug is it has really, really bad stats. Like I said, let's take all these mods off and show how bad it is. So we've got a 2-second reload, a 20-round magazine. It's just bad. It's just really, really bad. So you need to put on quality of life stats on here, in my opinion. So you want to get a good chunk of damage on here so you can steal enough Overguard, because this is gain 1 Overguard for every 100 damage dealt to the enemy's Overguard. So you do want to have a big chunk of Overguard, but you also don't have to reload this thing very often. So I have Synth Charge in here to auto-reload it. I've also got Accelerant Isotope for increased fire rate, and Prime Slip Magazine, so it will reload more bullets per second while it's holstered. Amalgam Barrel Diffusion lets us dodge quicker with Mirage, and that's pretty much it. We could throw out a multi-shot mod in here as well, but I'll be honest, guys, this is just pretty much used for memes and to steal some Overguard. You could use any actual good pistol in the game with this Arcane. As long as you can get damage on the target, you will steal Overguard from them, and you will get some increased survivability. But yeah, magnetic proc here just to get some magnetic damage on here, because I can't proc, to get some extra, damage chunks out of Secondary Fortifier for that Overguard steal. And for the Praetos, again, just uses the mobility stat stick, but it's the same build from my Civigoth build the other day, or same build from my Civigoth video the other day. I'm still messing with it a little bit more, but yeah, corrosive builds are going to be much better for Acolytes and stuff like that. But this is still pretty fun, too. You got Matter Eye Focus Tree, because you must run that for Void Cascade if you want to actually kill the Ghost Thrax at any reasonable time and be an asset to the team, not a burden to the team like Vazarin sometimes is. And for Nautilus Prime, the build is pretty much the same one I use all the time. The only mod you can really flex is Momentous Bond and Reinforced Bond. These two are pretty much interchangeable. But since I already have enough fire rate, I don't need any more fire rate on this build. I've got Momentous Bond. Whenever I kill an Eximus, these Nautilus will get an increased elemental damage of a random element. That's pretty good. If it becomes heat, I'll have even more heat procs. If it becomes cold, it'll be cold procs, blah, 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 blah. So just good stuff there. And Manifold Bond and Duplex Bond gives you some nice ability, flexibility. Like you get like illusions of the Verglas and the Nautilus, or you get enemies grouped up with the Verglas and the Nautilus. Just really good stuff. And Tenacious Bond giving us increased critical damage if we have a high critical chance Sentinel weapon equipped. And Contagious Bond will spread the procs and make enemies AoE die. And for the amazing Verglas Prime, which is extremely strong, we have a viral heat build. And I wish the heat procs were weighted higher, but I also don't really care that much. It still kills level 10,000. And again, if you do have galvanized mods on your Verglas, make sure you have the same type of weapon equipped. So if you have a Verglas equipped, make sure you have rifle galvanized mods on your actual primary yourself. So if I have galvanized chamber on my Verglas, I should have galvanized chamber on my Tenet Glaxion as well, because when these are both proc, it will work for your Sentinel as well. I don't know why it does that, but I'm going to view it as intended until DE says otherwise. So yeah, if you do plan on getting lots of kills with your primary and it's a rifle, you can put on galvanized mod. If you don't have a rifle equipped, just go with a normal non-galvanized build, and it can still kill stuff really, really easily. My Riven is multi-shot and crit chance. If you don't have a crit chance Riven, these builds don't work the same way, because there is no way to achieve your Tenacious Bond 50% crit chance without a crit chance Riven, even with critical delay. So you must have a critical chance Riven. I'm sorry to say that, but I'm sure everyone that is explaining this is saying the exact same thing out there. So yeah. But yeah, this build is quite powerful in practice. It can kill high-level enemies really, really quickly. The only thing it's not really great against is Acolytes, but that's my fault for not bringing an anti-Acolyte weapon. You're playing Mirage. You can kill Acolytes so easily. So just maybe don't bring the Stug. Maybe bring like a anti-Acolyte pistol, or they do the Lex Incarnon, or like the Atomos Incarnon with the grenade launcher, or like the Spore Lacer secondary could take out an Acolyte very easily with Mirage. So yeah, maybe think about something like that and not the Stug. But still, hey, Stug confirmed, went to level 10,000. I think I got like one or two like Thrax kills with it. Here's a Thrax right here. Stug level 10,000 in action. It is not exactly the best Wait, I think the Verglas actually killed that guy. So as you can see, this is a level... I tried to make sure this one was not buffed by any teammates, but as you can see, I think the Verglas did most of the work there. So the Verglas can really melt these guys quickly, but the Stug, on the other hand, is not really doing a whole lot. So that's going to be basically it for the video, guys. Hope you find it fun and helpful. Mirage is good for level 10,000 Void Cascade, but, you know, it's not like she's the easiest to play. She does have to do that survivability thing where it's like either overguard gating or shield gating is going to be probably your best bet here. Yeah, it looks like it is the Verglas doing all that damage, but hey, it did look like the Stug was doing a bit there, right? The Stug gave me some overguard at least, so yeah, guys, I'll see you next time. I'll be live on stream probably tomorrow. We're going to have some more build videos coming out. We're going to have Dev Stream Bingo next week. We're going to be having, I have like 9 build videos I'm working on for frames, and that's going to involve weapon builds for all those frames as well, too. So lots of stuff on the way. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. I've been enjoying making the content, and yeah, I will see you guys very soon. Take it easy. Bye.